Welcome to another edition of the Bones of Advertising. I'm Craig McLeod, and you are?
I'm John Douglas. Again.
Stop it. Again. Well, it's great. We were Troy McLeod just before, JD. Hi, I'm actor Troy McLeod.
You may remember me from such instructional videos as dig your own grave and save. I can't do Troy McLeod. I wish I could. Troy McLeod.
That was a pretty good effort, mate. I was quite impressed with that. But have we got a bone to pick over today, JD? What have you got for me to pick on today?
I've got a big bone to chew. I've got one with a lot of meat. A lot of people thinking that the bone's a bit skinny, but I think there's a fair bit of meat on this bone. I'd like to talk about, if we may, I would like very much to talk about prospecting in isolation. I was trying to think of a very clever kind of, snappy little thing for it, but prospecting in isolation.
A little quick to add to our isolation prospecting. I think that's a great one, JD. And I think part of what we do with, marketing and advertising, it really is important to understand that sales component. And I know we're really focused on it, but prospecting in these times, it's really interesting. And it's easy, I think, for a lot of people to go down the, this is so hard attitude. And I think it's real important to be able to take people out of that mindset really, really quickly with some positivity. Now, you and I are probably the two most positive blokes in the world. We're always, the glass is half full, but generally because it's got a fantastic Merlot or a beautiful, some kind of beverage in it. But
yeah,
it's important to keep positive, don't you reckon?
You're right. I think there's reasons to be cautiously optimistic, and if you feel your optimism waning, then it's that fake it till you make it. Yep. It feels a bit like that, but there are reasons to be enthusiastic. I mean, if you actually like what you do, it's easy to get enthusiastic about what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I kind of like meeting people, so this is I'm loving it. I'm loving just, having chats with people. I'm up to 22 cups of coffee. So I feel like we're almost halfway through.
Yeah, right. Well, you're nearly at your 50, but you're right. I mean, your cups of coffee are ultimately a point of checking in with people, but you know what? That's a form of prospecting.
Yeah, it is. It's amazing how the simple things about getting business and the way business runs in Australia or around the world generally, but certainly the way business runs in Australia it's very relationship based.
Yeah.
Like there are, as much as you are rewarded for doing good work, once you actually get the gig, and if you do good work, it's very hard for anyone to mount an argument to not use you. But it's the first step of getting in. How can you do good work if you don't have people to do good work for?
Yeah.
And it comes down to relationships, and relationships come down to empathy. What are your problems? What are your issues? How can we help solve your problems? Like as much as marketing is about the customer, marketing for agencies or for anybody, it doesn't have to be advertising marketing agencies, marketing for any business that sells from another business is based on empathy. It's based on us saying to the client, whoever that client is, hey, we just want to help.
Yeah.
How can we help you? And if it doesn't involve money, then it doesn't involve money. How can we help? Like, that's what we do. That's what we do.
Yeah. And I think that's a really important point as well. Being in that position where we're empathetic to what it is that everyone's going through right now, but also understanding that we are here to help. And that may sometimes mean not a campaign or not a job. Maybe it's just a conversation. And that can be enough. We talk a lot, but I get a lot out of our conversations. And I hope you do. Maybe you don't, but I hope you do. Sometimes just checking in with a client or a prospect could be the thing that changes their day from being, I'm feeling pretty isolated, or I'm feeling pretty alone. So, that was pretty cool. And we didn't specifically talk about, whatever it is their business is, but maybe we talked about how you're coping with being a mum at home and trying to work. That's got to be small reprieve from that kind of scenario can be something that makes a massive difference in someone's day.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the whole thing about like, I really like working with people I like working with, which seems tortuous and kind of, self-fulfilling prophecy. But the people that you like working for, here's a tip for any marketers out there listening. If the person who's doing the work for you likes working with you, they'll work harder for you for less.
Yeah.
Like you get good work from people who like working for you.
Yeah.
So find someone you like working with.
Yeah. As we've gotten older, I've really found myself being able to look at an opportunity fairly early on and knowing whether it's going to be a great one or a great fit for us collectively. I can usually smell the bullshit pretty quick. And, we haven't had many situations where we haven't been paid over the 16 years, but my bullshit detector went off. And I think I've got better at being able to say, you know what, that's not right for us, either from a personality point of view or that I don't reckon it is what it is. If it's not a duck, it's not going to quack and it's not going to deliver what we need it to do further down the track. So I think that's also been a great thing from a prospecting point of view, is just the experience of being able to say, this isn't going to be great. So, but on the flip side, I can also tell when I think it's going to be great and know when it's time to really put the pedal to the metal and deliver our absolute best, which we try and do all the time, but to make sure, we can convince those people that we are the right choice.
I particularly like the thing you were saying the other day about how important resilience is. Like, and it's not just, the stick to itness, and, there is a real sense of, like, resilience comes from belief. Like, you're not going to be resilient if you don't believe there's something good going to happen down the track.
Yep.
Like, you're not going to keep digging a hole unless you figure there's something at the bottom of the hole. Unless you're in the army and you're just following orders. Dig a hole. Now, fill that hole up and go and dig a hole over there. What's the purpose of it? Oh, no, I'm just digging a hole. Like, you're not going to, like most people dig a hole for a reason.
Yeah.
And like, that's essentially what resilience is. Like, why are you doing what you're doing?
Yeah.
And so I'm just kind of, it'd be good to chew on that just a little.
Yeah.
And like, how do you maintain your resilience? How do you maintain the energy to get up and just keep going?
My big point, and also from our business development team as well, is that a no from a prospective client may not be a no, not ever, but it's a no, not now. And that's a real important point, to understand that if you can do the approach respectfully and make sure that they understand the reason you're approaching. Now, we've got a whole lot of direct mail things that we send out to try and attract people's attention before we follow up with a potential phone call. We're also really lucky that our website does really well and delivers a lot of leads into the business as well. Not all great, but we can filter those and find the ones that we think are most appropriate for us. But as far as resilience goes, it comes down to the fact that I believe we've got something that we could assist that business with that we've approached in the beginning. And if you believe that there's business in there somewhere that you could work on, then you've got to be able to be resilient enough to say, no equals no, not now. So we don't wipe them off. We never take them off that list. What we do is we make sure that we put them in a category of where they don't want to be contacted by us every day when they've said, no, we're not interested right now. Thanks for your interest, but we're not interested right now. We put them into a category where we might go back to them in 3 months' time or 6 months' time and say to them, what about now? And it's surprising how often we've done that. And in the second instance, we might have got a no, but maybe in the third instance, they're like, you know what? I've seen some stuff these guys are posting. I've seen some of their work on their website. I may have met someone that's done some work with them. And all of a sudden, someone doesn't do what they said they do that they're currently working with. And they've seen our breadth of offering and said, you know what? It's time. Let's give them a go. That's what resilience is about, is just believing that there's an opportunity there and understanding how to manage that process of getting to that opportunity, which is even more important, JD, in this point of isolation. You've got to understand that not everyone is going to be able to do what they previously were able to do. Some people will have to cut their budgets. Some people will have to reduce their amount of campaigning. But all we've got to do is to make sure that our prospective clients, as well as our clients, know that we're there for them and ready when they're ready. That's really the point of being resilient, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think there is a sense of we're all suffering kind of individually.
Yeah.
Like there is a sense of when you start feeling a bit, less than capable or less than resilient or less than optimistic, it's very easy to become quite insular and quite kind of inward looking. And I think we're all going through. Can I just hold that thought?
Let's press pause.
That was my dog. I apologise to everyone listening. That little jingle bell sound was not Santa coming early. That was my dog, and that was an angel being born. Now I've got noises going on all over the place. Let me get back. This sense of like everyone's going through the same thing, and if you can get through that initial, times are tough. We're not on the down bit of the roller coaster where everything's exciting. We're on the up bit of the roller coaster where we're just struggling to get to a point where everything becomes easy. The Corona coaster, look, it's up and it's down and we're all over the place.
Yeah.
But there's a very real sense of if you can just connect on a human point, at a human perspective, it's much easier for people to then start feeling optimistic and to start feeling optimistic with people. Yeah. And I think that's half the secret is finding people you can connect with, Yeah.
And I think it's really important if we're talking about prospecting to give our viewers and listeners an understanding of some things that they could potentially do in this market. And as I said before, we've got these really strong direct marketing campaigns that we put out, but obviously no one's going to be wanting to receive something in this market. So you're not sticking anything in the post on a regular basis anymore. So that's had to be parked for us. So instead of that, a suggestion from us could be that you really try and work on your LinkedIn profile, get a whole lot more people connected to you, but then use that profile to seed something of value for them. Actually produce something like our podcast, JD, or our vlog. Let's get that out to the people, and hopefully we can give something that could be useful. Talking about like last week, understanding marketing and margin. Really try and cultivate some content of value. Yeah. Be prepared to give something away for free, and who knows, somewhere down the track, when we get to a point of thinking, what's our rebound plan? Once the doors are open again, and we talked about this euphoria in episode 1, when people are like, oh my God, I'm free.
Chips.
Before they realise we're still in a recession, but I'm free and I need chips. Particularly I need chips from a pub, or I need a beer and chips from a pub. But ultimately, getting to a point of saying, okay, well, how are you going to prospect differently? And I think that's a really simple point of saying, you know what, try and find a buddy. Get to a point where you've got someone you can connect with, like you and I. We connect, we talk about the good days, we talk about the bad days. But we make sure we stay on track. We never get to a point where that conversation ends and we're going, oh, you know what, it's too hard. I got off the phone with you yesterday, JD, and I was like, you know what, I'm back. I'm ready to fly again. It was a tougher day yesterday, but off the phone from you, and I'm like, you know what, boom, let's go do it again. The sun came up again today. It's another day to get out there and make sure you do it. So another principle is think about buddying up. Find someone that you can connect with and that can keep you accountable from a prospecting point of view. Make sure you check in with them on a regular basis every 2 or 3 days, and just make sure that you guys are doing what it is that you're saying for yourselves that you're meant to do. It's like
we should invent Advertisers Anonymous. We just
I love it.
And I am not belittling Alcoholics Anonymous. They do a fine job. They do a magnificent job, and it's a process that works. And hats off to them. I have some friends who are recovering alcoholics. Odd that I was in advertising and I know some alcoholics, but that whole sense of buddying up, have a buddy. buddies make things better. Like, you go back to last week and we're talking about, sales and marketing. You got to have friends throughout the organisation, and you've got to have friends outside the organisation. So don't be afraid to find someone that you can just talk to and just bounce stuff off and get your energy, share your energy, and it doubles and quadruples. The bad times aren't as bad as, and the good times are so much better. That's what a buddy does. So, I think that's a good thing. Stay accountable to what because it's very easy to fall into the energy hole, and then go, you know what, I'll do it tomorrow. And I think that the idea of staying accountable, of doing stuff, setting yourself deadlines, and you don't have to be the super productive person, but stay accountable. Set yourself little deadlines and little targets and little goals, and make sure you meet them, day in, day out, week in, week out, and you will. What's that great thing? If you're thinking about getting fit and you're only walking around the couch, you're still in front of the person who hasn't got off the couch.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, just stay there. There will be good reasons to feel very positive, and I think the more we feel like we're coming out of it, I think the better.
Yeah. Exactly.
The one thing I would recommend is being able to go to people, if you're cold prospecting or warm prospecting, and you are reaching out and trying to, find an ear. Two things: you should try and be talking to the person who makes the decision. So, there's the advertising and Melbourne advertising, and if this is going to New South Wales and South Australia, Uzbekistan, whoever's listening to us out there in the big, wide, wonderful world. Certainly in Melbourne advertising, there are agencies that have become very, very good at identifying decision makers. And sometimes those decision makers are not the marketing director or the marketing officer. So, I'm not going to name names, but sorry, if anyone can decode that, please let me know. We can maybe get the lawyers on and just bleep that out. But talks to the decision makers, but also remember that there are a whole lot of people right now who are trying very hard to prove their worth to as many decision makers as they can. And so there's this clamour of people saying, give me money, kick it to me, I can do it. There's all of that going on. And there will be a lot of people who will be saying a lot of the similar kinds of stuff to similar kinds of people in similar kinds of ways. And so it'll be this kind of, as exciting as it seems and as interesting as it seems to those people, there will be a wall of that. It'll be like a Paisley wall, like there's a whole lot of really interesting stuff, but it's far too interesting and it's far too confusing, and I'm just going to be wallpaper, interesting wallpaper, but wallpaper nonetheless. Yeah. So how do you go to someone with a new perspective? How do you go to someone with a perspective that they may not have heard? Going to them with an idea that doesn't require money. Yeah. But just a way of showing that you are aware of the business pressures rather than just the advertising and marketing pressures.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's focus.
Yeah. How do you keep your people engaged? What's a little so here's a free another angel got its wings. I heard something just delightful the other day, and it's a chief operating officer of a business went out and got a virus pack for all of the people who are in the business, and these people have had their hours cut, and so energy's a bit low, but they went and they got either some really nice high-end juices and or soft drinks or something, and some people got alcohol. People who drank alcohol, they know. So a little bit of alcohol, some hand sanitizer, a big thing of Cadbury favourites, and some fruit. Like it was just a little care pack.
Yep.
And then they went and they got those delivered. They got those little care packs delivered. And it was like just a little, we're aware that times are shit, but we still love you and we still want you to work for us.
Yeah.
It was a really simple way. It cost, I mean, yes, it cost a bit, but it didn't cost shitloads, and it keeps their people engaged. Yeah. And maybe that's the sort of thing that people with ideas should be thinking of beyond advertising. If the businesses are not going to be advertising or thinking about, you know, the colouring in bit of marketing, yeah. How do you engage your people? How do you engage your best clients in a way that costs you nothing, that costs them nothing, that makes them realise that you still care about their success? Yeah. And there you go. There's the lesson. Here endeth the lesson.
I like it. Last point, JD, before we wrap on this one, is that people should know that there is still business to be won. You can still win business in this environment, and you know, and that's an absolute fact. So maybe that's how we end for the day. But you know what? I think it's been a great one, and I've certainly enjoyed it. And I look forward to next week, my friend. We'll see you again.
Stay up.